Welcome to the Pixelberry Choices podcast, and today we're going to be talking about the Cursed Heart, chapter 1 to 10, and also the first impression of the Cursed Heart. So, the Cursed Heart is a fantasy book. Basically, we have fays, magical creatures, and before I talk about it, a lot of people theorize that Blades of Light and Shadow got delayed this year because of this book, because they would be dealing with two magical creature book then. But when this book came out, you have a clear warning that this book doesn't have some safe BDSM practice, so it's a rough BDSM or whatever. So it kind of set off the alarms for a lot of people. Thought, we're just recovering from surrender, and now we have this, so definitely going to be some hardcore BDSM or whatever. So this is probably not going to be that good a book, and most is going to be BDSM sex, and that's also not safe, something like you had in Surrender. So a lot of people went off about that. But then we started, and we see I'm on chapter 11 so far. In this video, I'm going to talk about till chapter 10, and we don't have half the things we have in Surrender or in any classical BDSM book you have. So I don't know why they said the BDSM thing. At first, yeah, there is something like the control thing, like you have the option to choose from whether you want those scenes or not, like, but you don't, like, it's basically like you let Kieran dominate you in a way, like feeding her and stuff, but nothing too much physical, getting her or anything, like not that. I don't know what the warning was about yet, but anyway, let's start the first chapter, the Fey Forest. So we start off, we're in the jungle, and we help a wolf, but the wild animals are wild animals. You help them, but they're not going to remember that. They're going to see you as a food. So then we are saved by one very intriguing stranger, and that's Kieran. We can choose their gender, their race, our one and only love interest of this book. And we don't know about them yet. They're covered, so we don't even know they were Fey. We thought they were human. But then we come back, we see the tavern I think we work for, and we just get the place, and we sort of get a glimpse of our backstory, that our mom and dad, who were sick one time and they left, basically they died, I should say, at a very young age, and we were left alone. So we go through all this in this first half of this chapter 1, and then we see that we go out at night to get some water, and we get a glowing gem from the well, and it was emanating a color, and then it fades into our heart. And then the local drunk sees it and thinks that we are hiding a very precious jewel, and he wants his jewel. And we run in the forest where people forbid us to go, because who knows what kind of creature basically is waiting to lure us in there. And we see it, a creature with wings and beak, a beast, a mountain beast, you will know, I think. And that tries to kill us, we think, but it attacks the drunk who was chasing us, and we get away from there. And we had a gift in a diamond scene. I think we can take it from Kieran. When Kieran saves us, Kieran will give this gift to us, and we can basically distract the drunk guy with this, and then the beast will do its job. Meanwhile, we'll wander to a Fey party, and we will see there from the Sun Court, and we'll have a fun there. And then at the end, we will see that the Fays are ready to say goodbye to us, because we gotta go back to the human world. But before it was ended, we see a familiar figure walking in, and that was none other than, well, Kieran, who saved us in the morning. And Kieran seemed to be the ruler of the Moon Court and the current ruler of this Fey Forest. And Kieran claims us in front of the whole Sun Court and takes us to the Moon Palace. So basically, at first, in this whole process in the Moon Palace, we see it's not as gleamy, or we haven't been to Sun Palace yet, but we have seen the people of the Sun Palace. They're so bright and welcoming. But in the Moon Palace, we see like it's sort of like breaking down, rotten places, like overgrown, trees, vegetation. But we explored the Moon Palace. At first we thought that Kieran would be really cold, which Kieran was. We had a sense of fear from Kieran, and we sort of get through this. And in here, in the first couple of chapters, we have some scenes which probably what they meant by unsafe BDSM. Basically we get to, like, we can let Kiran dom us a little bit, but nothing in a sexual way, but like feeding her, and then sort of causing trouble and getting punished by her here and there, but not too serious. I think they were, not on the level of surrender, totally not. And then we see that there are two others only, and that's Longclaw, and there's an old warrior. So we also meet with him, Sir Montgomery and Longclaw Bear. And in this, there's a good feature, and that is we get to have a tales. So we can collect these tales like in a diamond scene. So fairy tales, we read in the childhood, and when we collect them in every chapter, the name of the particular story and which chapter we found them they're written. So it feels like the index of a fairy tale book that we read as a child. So that was pretty exciting, I would say. And you can collect them, you can learn about them over time. You learn that you're stuck there because there's an amulet, I think, that is on our neck, and with the help of that, Kiran has claimed us and we can remove it. And we also learn that phase, there are two seasons, right? Winter and summer. I think over this winter period, the night princess rule over this fey forest, and then next 6 months the day princess, and that's how the peace is there. And then we learn a lot about the moon palace. At one point we try to run, but the beast comes after us, and well, we get to see that we can't really run from it because it will kill us. And we get inside the moon palace. We get accustomed to Longclaw and Sir Montgomery, who are very friendly, by the way. And at first we found those two more friendly than Kiran. And then we see that at a chapter we finally get to see who that beast is, and that's Kiran. And then we learn that what is the curse that Kiran is under. Well, centuries ago, Kiran was in love with a Sun Court princess, and she sort of betrayed Kiran and put this curse on her, or him on Kiran. But Kiran studied a lot about these curses, so Kiran cast an anti-curse stuff, and then sort of both the curses and anti-curse or whatever that canceling, both of them collided, and that created this. And Kiran's heart shattered into pieces, and those pieces are in different places. So our mission would be to collect them, and then we become Kiran's attendant. We go to a hunt, and we see Lostros. I don't know how to pronounce her name. A very cheeky and a very unkind, a very like someone who definitely you can tell just by seeing her that this brings bad news. So Lostros, the princess of Sun Court, we see it, and in the later chapters you'll know that that is the princess who betrayed Kiran. So we see they are having a sort of a moment, but they're not having a moment. Basically, Lostros was mocking Kiran, and we kind of get jealous that Kiran would never want us, so we're developing feeling for Kiran. So all the BDSM stuff we talked about, that just fades after chapter 5. You won't even find any dominating stuff there. It's just we are sort of getting through it, breaking through the cold shells of Kiran. Because at first we thought Kiran would be, everybody thought, and everybody knows this, that Kiran won't be able to love anymore. But now we're slowly the person who is making them love again. And then we go on hunt to find all the diamonds. In the first time we find from Magpie, and then we learn that the gem we touched, remember, from the well, on the very first chapter, in the first day of this book, that is actually Kiran's heart. So one heart lives inside us. And also learn from Longclaw that the beast hunts this, and if a creature has it, it's going to tear it open and get the heart. So we also are fearing for our lives, and the final heart piece was in the mountain of beasts. We climb it. We also get amulet. We learn about the story of mountain of beast, and we don't fear this mountain of beast because we have a beast protector amulet with us. And then Kiran also gets really close with us. We have our first scene, and when she's getting the heart back, she's getting close to her real self, and we have a hookup scene with Kieran, I guess, and Kieran is getting closer to us. She opens her bond and says, we can go away if we want, but we stay until all the hearts are there. But when we go to the Mountain of Beast, we see that we see the it was really late, and Kieran carried us there. So Kieran at the night transforms from Kieran's self to the beast, and when Kieran is the beast, it doesn't remember anything. It goes for blood only and the heart pieces, so it can hurt us. So we, under a tree trunk, we see the heart piece stuck rather, I should say, and we go for it, and the beast is above, and Kieran transforms completely to the beast, and then we give it the heart piece it gets, and then it gets berserk because it wants another heart piece. It is not complete yet, and we know we have it. And what we do, we don't know yet, and we find that in the next chapter, which is the Palace of the Sun, chapter 11. So I know I wasn't really covering all the chapter reviews, but that is a short version of what happened until chapter 10 in the first half of this book. And now my honest commentary on this one, I know this book is not the cup of tea for a lot of people, from like the alarms went off from very first to save BDSM and stuff, but I would say this is a classic magical fairy tale because I like that how it doesn't focus on much on the BDSM and it is optional at the first, whatever little BDSM it has. Also, I don't think that is a hardcore BDSM after reading Surrender. But what I should say is that, it was just really amazing to see how they built this. So Kieran was really cold at first, and then we sort of break through the shackles. Yeah, after getting the heart pieces back, she got a little more of her old self, we think, even though we don't know what that self was. We heard stories, and I think we need to restore the Moon Palace. It's really lonely. I feel sad for it. And then there's a lustrous, the princess. I think we're gonna have to punish her some way, and we'll see what happens in the next chapter. We're stuck between the heart and Princess Kieran on top, not Princess Kieran's self, or Prince Kieran's self, I'm sorry. And so the beast is there, which is afterlife. What will happen in the next chapter, we'll find that out. But so far, I think, it reminds me of Beauty and the Beast sort of scenario, where we have a beast in front of us and a Kieran cold-hearted to transform into a beast, and we break through the shackles, we break through the cold features of them, and we make Kieran feel feelings that Kieran wasn't sure that Kieran was capable of feeling. So it's quite a touching story, I would say, at the end of the day. And it's one of the positive books of this year, I would say. And let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. That was the first impression of The Cursed Heart. And so far, until chapter 10, if you tell me to rate it out of 10, I would say it's a solid 9 out of 10 book for me. At first, I think it is really picking up now. Like, since chapter 5 and 6, it really picked up. At first, it was like I think you need to give a book 5 or 6 chapters to see where it's going. So at first, it was the initial things. But after that, it really picked up the pace, and I think it's now one of the amazing books that I'm seeing over in choices, The Cursed Heart, at the moment for non-VIP folks. And that's the first impression, first 10 chapters review of this book, The Cursed Heart Fantasy Fae book. Let me know in the comments your thoughts and your opinions. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, peace out.